Hello and welcome. My name is Warren Mortimer. I'm a PhD student at Lancaster University in the Department of English Literature and Creative Writing. This is the third of 4 videos on creative writing at Lancaster, what to expect, what kind of things that I might teach in my classes. This one's on grammar. I've called it the Grand Oak Dining Table. Don't wince at all. It's going to be fun. I'm going to put a spin on this. Grammar usually turns people off immediately. Don't worry about that. Okay. Let's start with adjectives and adverbs. This is the bottom line from me. Treat them as your mortal enemies. I think there's a myth that we're taught that adjectives and adverbs add some kind of oomph, some meat to our writing. They enhance what's already there. They add colour to our writing. The truth, though, as far as I'm concerned, is that adjectives and adverbs should be treated as highly suspicious. They should be employed sparingly. The way that I like to look at this is how you would react if you were to read a passage full of adjectives and adverbs. And what they do is slow the momentum of the reading pace. If you get to a passage in a book, say an old book, say a Victorian book, and it's full of adjectives and adverbs, they don't propel you forwards, they stunt the pace. You're writing for real flesh and blood people. What you need to ask yourself is how you would feel being pelted with adverbs and adjectives. Often writers do this to begin with to show their skill, to show their broad vocabulary. But really, the nouns, the actual things, the objects, the people, if they're placed well enough in a piece of text, they can stand for themselves. You might be writing for school, but remember that teachers and examiners are also barely human. Don't take my word for it though, I've got some quotes here. I'll read a few of these out to you. The first is from Voltaire, so this should have some weight behind it, we would hope. Adjectives are frequently the greatest enemy of the substantive. The greatest enemy. Look at Stephen King's quote at the bottom there. The road to hell is paved with adjectives. The adjective is the banana peel of the parts of speech. And Hemingway, last of all. I was taught to distrust adjectives, as I would later learn to distrust certain people in certain situations. Treat them that way. Treat them as your enemies. Treat them with suspicion. That borders on adjectives being completely useless and to be avoided at all costs. But I think there's a halfway house here. These quotes strike me as slightly closer to the truth because, after all, adjectives and adverbs are describing words: big, lovely, happy. They do have a place. They can be employed with real success. Mark Twain says this: when you catch an adjective, kill it. No, I don't mean utterly, but kill most of them. Then the rest will be valuable. They weaken when close together. They give strength when they're wide apart. The odd, unexpected adjective, the odd bit of colour, the odd splash in a black and white painting can really speak volumes. From William Zisner as well, most adjectives are also unnecessary. Like adverbs, are sprinkled into sentences by writers who don't stop to think that the concept is already in the noun. That's something I was just stressing before. If the noun, if the name of the person, or the name of the building that you're describing, or a door, or a tree, let's say it's an elm or an oak, if that's specific enough, you can often do without the adjective. In my example there, we might say oak instead of big tree. Very simple, but that condensation of writing is really key to creating clean, sharp, crisp sentences. Take them with a pinch of salt. I've got a picture here. Imagine your meat or your protein and your carbohydrates, your chips, your potatoes. Imagine those as your nouns, your people. The adjectives are your little bit of garnish there, your little bit of salt, your herbs. A little bit will do you really well. If you're as bad a cook as me, you'll want to put in basil, oregano, salt, pepper, a bit of everything. No idea why. And what happens is all of these tastes, all of these garnishes just get lost in a big mishmash together. That's what happens when you overuse adjectives. Most likely a terrible metaphor there, but hopefully you can get the gist with that. This is a very famous poem. I'm going to show this in action. I'm not going to read this poem to you. You might know this one. It's by Robert Frost. What I'm going to show you is this. I've highlighted the adjectives here and the adverbs. First thing that you can see right off from the white page is that there's very few of them, and if a poet isn't using very many, the person that you'd most likely to expect to employ adjectives in their work, then a prose writer should use even less. If the poet can't get away with it, the prose writer certainly can't. Second thing I want to show you here is look how simple they are. Little, frozen, darkest, easy. Okay, fair enough. Downy is a bit of an archaism now. Lovely, dark, deep. Very, very simple. Kept it plain, but they hold the weight of the meaning of the word. As inconspicuously as a sprig of oregano. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again in part 4.